The dangerous myth of delegation. There's a dangerous myth many people buy into. Someone else can take me to financial freedom. It sounds appealing, doesn't it? Hand over your hard-earned money to an expert. Follow their advice blindly, and watch as they magically transform your life. No effort required. Just trust the process. But here's the catch. When you hand over control, you also surrender responsibility. And without ownership, you're left vulnerable. They hand over control, trusting that the road to wealth will be paved by someone else. And that's when they find themselves stuck in the passenger seat, waiting for someone to drive them to success. But what happens when the driver takes a wrong turn? What if the path they choose leads to detours, dead ends, or worse, a crash? The passenger's trap. Imagine you're on a long road trip, but instead of driving, you're sitting in the back seat, hoping someone else is taking you in the right direction. You don't know the route, you're not controlling the speed, and you have no say in where you stop. All you can do is hope they know the way. That's how many people approach their finances. They wait for a guru, a mentor, or a magical investment to take them to the promised land. But what happens when the driver takes a wrong turn? What if the path they choose is full of detours and dead ends? Let's explore this metaphor further. You don't know where you're going. When you're a passenger, you rely entirely on someone else's navigation skills. If they misunderstand the map or intentionally mislead you, you'll end up lost. In real terms, this means blindly following advice from self-proclaimed experts who may not have your best interests at heart. You can't control the speed. As a passenger, you're at the mercy of the driver's pace. Maybe they drive too fast, taking reckless risks that jeopardize your safety. Or maybe they crawl along, wasting precious time. Similarly, outsourcing your financial decisions often leaves you powerless to adjust course based on changing circumstances. You have no say in stops along the way. Every pit stop matters on a road trip. It could mean refueling, grabbing food, or stretching your legs. But as a passenger, you can only suggest destinations. You can't enforce them. In finance, this translates to missed opportunities for growth because you're not actively steering toward goals like savings, investments, or debt reduction. The reality is that passengers don't control their destiny. They have to trust someone else's judgment, and if that person fails, the blame falls squarely on the passenger's shoulders. After all, you chose to get in the car. The illusion of outsourcing your wealth. In the 2000s, there was a buzz about a particular investment group. The pitch was tantalizing. Your money will grow effortlessly. All you have to do is trust the experts. Investors flocked in, handing over millions of dollars, believing they were being guided by people who had the magic formula. At first, everything seemed perfect. Monthly statements showed impressive returns, and investors felt validated in their decision to delegate. Why bother learning about stocks, bonds, or market trends when these so-called experts were delivering results? But eventually cracks began to show. That investment group was exposed for running a fraudulent operation. It turned out to be a classic Ponzi scheme. Those who put their faith in the experts lost everything. The sad part? The ones behind the scheme weren't the only ones who paid the price. Many investors, including respected individuals, were left with nothing, and their lives were forever altered. Now imagine if those investors had kept control of their financial decisions. They wouldn't have been vulnerable to the lies and manipulations of those claiming to hold the secret to wealth. But because they relied on others to make decisions for them, they became victims of their own passivity. This isn't an isolated incident. Scams, bad advice, and poorly managed funds happen every day. Yet the common thread among victims is always the same. They handed over the keys to someone else. Take the wheel. Why you need to drive your own financial future.